All right, so the email reads, hey, is this really, really strange? Because everything seems great in my relationship until they drink together, and then it's horrible. Okay, you got something going on in your life. You want to share it with Bert Show fam. Hit us up at thebertshow.com, and we'll share your email. She's just not real sure if this is normal or not. Bert Show, been dating my boyfriend for 2.5 years. Don't know if it matters, but we're both 28. Greatest relationship I've ever been in. We've talked about marriage, so I'm pretty sure an engagement is around the corner. Anyway, we get along so damn well. We share the same values. I feel he supports me. I support him. I guess what I'm trying to say is I just assume we were both really, really happy. However, we get in fights just about, capital letters, every time we get drunk together. Yeah, I know you're just going to say, well, stop drinking, and you're right. However, does this mean something deeper, like maybe we aren't happy with each other, and when we get drunk, our real feelings come out? I mean, I think I have little things that annoy me about him, but it's not stuff that I would really bring up because it just seems so small. But when we drink, both say horrible things to each other. What does that mean? So, anybody been in one of these? 1-855-BERT Show where everything seems fine until you start drinking and then you guys can't get along at all. Like your sober personalities mesh great, but your drunk personalities absolutely don't mix and they hate each other.
I feel like this is a huge red flag.
I think so too.
Big time.
Yeah, and like I'm a believer of like a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts. So like what you're saying to each other, you can just offhandedly blame on the alcohol, but at some point you got to take ownership. And the fact that you can treat the person you love and say horrible things to them, and that's the person that you're supposed to cherish and value more than anything, and that's the last person you should be saying horrible. You shouldn't say horrible things to anybody, but the last person you should say horrible things to is the person that you love. Yeah, this is a major issue, and I would recommend therapy.
I do believe you can have a time or two where you're intoxicated and you say some things you don't really mean. But if this is happening every single time on a consistent basis, then I definitely think it is, to what Kristen said, a drunk tongue is a sober mind. And I had a friend who was in a similar situation for years, actually. And it ended up being because he wasn't happy on the inside. But he didn't know how to tell her that. So it would come out when he was drunk and she felt the same way. So ultimately they ended up finding out that they were happy on the outside because they were both pretending. But deep down, neither of them really wanted to be there. So this could be a similar situation.
Damn, so they're just faking their relationship, and then when the alcohol hits, then it's
the honesty hits.
These are the things that I've been thinking. Because she even says here, like, yeah, I mean, he's got some things that annoy me, but I just kind of like, I squash them, so I don't bring them up. But maybe when you do that, those little itty bitty things, those little singles add up to home runs at some point.
Yep.
They add up and they fester, like, because you start like ruminating on them, and then before you know it, it's snowballed into like this huge thing, and then you drink, and that's when the liquid courage hits, and you spew it all, and then you end up saying horrible things to each other.
And outside of therapy, I think they need to have a real conversation, like not don't hold the stuff in, whatever is really going on deep inside. Like they need to communicate that with each other so they can know where they really are.
I don't know if they could do this because I don't know if they could remember it when they're drunk, but like the next morning, say the same things you said when you were drunk sober to each other.
Oh God.
Could you imagine?
Oh yeah.
To really understand the magnitude and the weight of those words. Say what you said to each other sober that you said when you were drunk.
You probably wouldn't even be capable of that. Like, I just can't be that mean. There's no way I would say that to somebody I love.
Or even record your true feelings. A therapist got me to do that once. Like record how I really felt about something while I was intoxicated.
Yeah.
I had to listen to it while I was sober, and it was almost like I was listening to a completely different person.
I had never heard that before. Really?
Yeah, it messed me up.
Hey, Sylvian, good morning.
So you highly recommended that because it messed you up.
It was hard work, but it ended up paying off. Yeah.
Sylvian, good morning. You're on the Bert Show. Hi.
Good morning. I was listening to your bit, and there's a really good therapist, a young guy. He's on TikTok a lot. I forgot his name. It escaped me. If I know it, I'll email you guys. But he's saying even though the little things that claim for the little things, over time, they're so important to address. Mm-hmm. Whether it's it's scraping your tongue or your teeth over a spoon or fork. Because if you've been married for 30 years, those 2 minutes equate to hours of your life.
Yeah.
And you got to address them. And it's all about communication. You got to be honest with each other. If something's bothering you, sit them down, talk about it.
Or you end up getting in big old fights, hateful fights when you're drunk together.
Man, that's so funny. You say the scraping of because that happened last night, and I slammed the Parmesan cheese on the table, and Bart's like, "What?" And I was like, "Nothing." But in my head, I was like, if I hear your teeth scrape that spoon, and if I hear that spoon scrape that bowl one more time, I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind.
Tiffany's there with me and chips. I guess I eat chips with my mouth open, and she said she can hear it like 600 yards away.
I believe it.
The Bert Show.